All right, everyone, it is now official. Donald Trump is running for the presidency for 2024. He has officially announced at the Mar-a-Lago that he is throwing his hat in the ring. The Republican primaries are likely to be artificially messy because the Uniparty is clearly scrambling to find someone to knock him on his ass. And if they don't stop him in the primaries, be assured that there will be shenanigans by people like Mitch McConnell in 2024 to try to deny Trump the presidency. They will tailor favors with the Democratic Party leadership, and they'll get an agreement going where a bunch of Republicans are allowed to win as long as Trump is not. And so they'll pull funding, they'll do shenanigans at the state level to try to deny him proxy campaigning and stuff. And we've got to wait and see, by the way, the big kicker, and probably the biggest advantage to Trump running. Does big tech continue to ban a presidential candidate who is the technical incumbency, is the presumptive nominee, and then going forward into the general, do they keep him banned thereafter once the primaries are over? I think that some states are likely to suspend their primaries altogether and simply give Trump the delegates due to his quasi-incumbency. He was a president of the United States. That's the closest thing to an incumbent advantage that the Republicans are going to get, of course, with a Grover Cleveland-esque gap. It'll be very interesting to see them justify their attacks on the First Amendment and the right of people to be represented by the politician of their choice. Now, let's look at his speech. It ticks all the boxes for me. To be clear, I am all in on Trump 2024. I would rather nominate Donald Trump and have him goddamn get gobsmacked and lose in a miraculous wipeout. I would rather see the shenanigans happen in real time and say, oh, he lost. Well, that's rather sad. People voted for 4 more years of Bidenomic misery. I'd rather do that than bend over and support any other Republican if there are any signs of shenanigans within the GOP primaries. To be clear, if they manage to coronate somebody else, I don't think it'll be DeSantis. I don't think that he's really in on the joke with Mitch McConnell and the others. Pompeo, Liz Cheney 2024. I won't support him because I'm not a Republican. I don't have any loyalty to the party or anything like that. I voted for Trump because I thought he was the more qualified candidate. Clearly, going into 2024, that's likely to still be the case because if you look at the likely Dem field, and I think that they will probably have a primary battle too because Joe Biden will be pushing 83 at the time. I can't see anyone that's particularly qualified. You've got Transportation Dracula. You've got the Wine Grandma. You've got the Wine Mom. You've got Kenkels. I'm not seeing a whole lot of talent. As far as his actual announcement speech, it was so good that even Cenk Uygur said, well, I don't know, I think his speech was actually all right. Yeah, it was vicious and full of lies. He has to throw that out to his fan base. But, it probably appealed to his audience. It was all right. No verbal fumbles. It couldn't be more night and day watching Donald Trump speak for a half an hour versus watching Joe Biden. Here's the big kicker. Donald Trump drew a contrast, and you saw a much more calm Donald Trump than you saw during most points in 2016. That is exactly the energy that he needs going forward if he is to stand any chance of overcoming the uniparty system. He has to simply look more collected and with it, and more withdrawn at times than Joe Biden. That's all he has to do. The people will see that contrast for themselves. Honk honk aside, I've already explained why that doesn't actually take place in most U.S. states, half of them defortified. His speech was effectively a shining the light on the Biden administration, so contrasting, reminding people how things were, at least for the first 3 years of Donald Trump's presidency, versus how they are now, on inflation in the economy, drug busts, of course, people pouring across the southern border, no shit, some of them happen to be trafficking things like fentanyl. Diplomacy. I was glad that he pointed out the Abraham Accords. This was one of the rare moments that the legacy media gave Donald Trump credit. In fact, I wish he would make that forefront part of his foreign policy chops for his re-election bid. That, North Korea, certainly, other various issues, tax relief. He got dogpiled for it at the time, and Joe Biden hasn't let the issue go, even though everything Joe Biden says about Donald Trump's tax plan is clearly wrong. This was a more calm Trump, a more measured Trump, a more sure of himself Trump. The legacy media's spin immediately after the stories start piling in. Donald Trump is frenetic. Donald Trump is trying to shield himself from justice, a la Merrick Garland and the J6 committee. Donald Trump, who attempted to overthrow the U.S. government, this aging retard over here, is running for re-election again. Let's hope that he loses. That's basically the sum and substance of NPR's daily headline, by the way, right now. Don't trust me? Go to my Twitter and you can see their headline for yourself. Keep in mind that they are partially taxpayer funded. Just to be clear about the political trajectory of the United States. Donald Trump got up on stage and he managed to rarely insult others except in the platform sense, saying, look, here's how Biden failed and how I succeeded. He managed to restrain himself for a half an hour before announcing his presidential run. That's a victory, to be clear already. I think that people expected him to get up on stage and there'd be like strobe lights and people in like fucking face paint dancing around behind him, and he'd be rambling about QAnon and Clown World and stuff like that. Instead, he didn't. This is the kind of pivot that he needs. Here, let me be presidential speechwriter and give Donald Trump his pivot. My opponents would like to look backwards to the dark and dismal past of the United States. I prefer to look to the future, so I'm not going to really discuss 2020 because I'm too busy thinking about 2024. We need to be the party of progress and change, and that's also why you should throw out Mitch McConnell and people like that. That would be the perfect segue. He comes damn close to doing exactly what I wished he would do in this speech. And this is just day one of his presidential bid. Yeah, damn right I'm all in for Trump 2024 again. I will cast my vote in the primaries for Donald Trump, assuming that he's the nominee, which I do assume. I will definitely vote for him in the general election. As a Vermonter, of course, it doesn't mean a whole lot as far as my vote goes, but for what little it's worth. And I'll make the videos and stuff, and I'm going to have a great 2 years doing it. I don't even care what happens from here on out. I strongly suspect, again, that you will see a worrying fusion of parts of the GOP leadership, the Democratic Party, legacy media, and big tech, just like you saw before, so it's not exactly unheralded. This isn't really a prediction. This is more a statement of what's about to happen. They will fuse together and do everything they can to try to stop Donald Trump from being the victor in the primaries. They will probably be unsuccessful at that. Subsequently, when he enters the general, look for the Republican Party to sabotage him. They will do everything in their power to try to stop Donald Trump, and they will get a favor from the Democrats. The Democrats will probably say, look, stop a bunch of MAGA candidates. You control your own primaries, so it shouldn't be hard. Kick out the MAGA candidates. We'll let the neocons win. So you'll roar over the House and Senate. People will be cheering, your great Republican victory, and we'll shaft Trump, and then MAGA will be dead. That's probably what's going to happen, just to be clear. But I'm standing on principle. I'd rather go with Donald Trump anyway. Mainly because I'm not a Republican. I actually like people who have common sense. That tends to be mutually exclusive with the Republican Party's own leadership. By the way, now is a good time to kick out Mitch McConnell, and there was a tie-in, and this was a good step by Donald Trump, to say all eyes on Georgia, vote for Herschel Walker. Although he should have gone further and said, no, look, even people out of state, make a fucking TikTok video for him or something because we need this Senate slaw. To be clear, there was one additional facet to his speech that was rare, that is not being covered generally by like the CNNs and MSNBCs of the world, which is that if you look at the endorsements of candidates, Donald Trump actually did really goddamn well. He's over 80%. That's not a loser, to be clear. And he's already won in the past, so, he's capable of doing it. Everyone wrote him off against Hillary Clinton other than me and a half a dozen other people, and he still managed to win. I'm all in for Trump. I will support him. If he loses the primaries and there aren't shenanigans going on, I will consider voting for the nominee, depending on who they are. If it's like Ted Cruz, no, it's not going to happen. Pompeo, no, I don't think so. Liz Cheney, hell no. Rubio, I don't know. At this point, I think Rubio is in the middle of the field as far as electability, and that's really sad a thing for the Republican Party, just to be clear. You get a Rand Paul in there or something, yeah, I would still support them. Even DeSantis, if he joins the primaries and wins fairly, that is that they debate, they have normal primaries, and he gets more delegates, and I don't get the sense that there were shenanigans going on, yeah, I would consider voting for DeSantis. Carrie Lake or somebody like, although I don't think she'd run against Trump. She's more likely to be his fucking running mate or something. By the way, Donald, if you don't get Rand Paul in as your running mate, choose Carrie Lake. Ron DeSantis is a good choice, but you're already going to carry Florida anyway because he reformed the election system there. Get an Arizonan in, and I bet that ticks you over the margin of honking going on in Maricopa County right now. I think that'd be a wise choice. So I am definitely going to watch this race with rapt attention. It'll be much more fun than covering like, hey, here's the third gaffe of the day of Joe Biden, because, I mean, sometimes over the last year, it feels like the channel has devolved into the Biden gaffe channel to the point where I seriously consider making a second channel just for that particular coverage. Maybe I'll still have to do that. So yeah, Trump 2024, bitches. I'm definitely supporting him. And I have a feeling there is a chance that he wins again. There's nothing that the American people like a hero. They like a fallen hero more. This person's heroic, but then they lose. It's a tragedy. But then if they come back and there's a redemption arc, that's the ultimate. That's the perfect story. There's a reason why trilogies have a tendency to follow that formulaic pattern, and Donald Trump may actually be able to pull it off. He'd probably be running against a mental vegetable of one sort or another given the likely Democratic nominees. That's about all. Peace out.